Hey guys, Josh Kronfeld here with Chris Durrell, your host for RotoPros daily, or not daily, but a couple times a week. We pop in here to break down the MLB slate for you. We have an exciting week ahead of us with NFL coming back this Sunday. We officially made it. It's just a glorious time of year for that
It's
reason.
beautiful.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you got your Vikings hat on, so you kind of look like Adam Thielen. I think I told you that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually been working out a little bit too, so I'm
There you
hoping
go.
next year to make the team.
There you go. Yeah. You just put yourself through the combine like he did, and you're one step away. So we're gonna dive into MLB today. Some big tournaments and stuff on DraftKings in particular. So it's a good slate to get involved with. Probably one of the last really good slates for the year. And without further ado, who are you looking at with pitcher tonight, Chris?
Yeah, before we get into pitcher, just September gets a little bit crazy. Like last night we seen what crazy to me was the pitcher that we went with. I'm just trying to think his name was there. Velasquez. Ended up giving up 4 runs, but he only went 77 pitches. But I mean, he only gave up 2 hits, 2 walks and 4 runs. It was just like total run bad last night. So kind of jump back on the train. Just something to key in on in September is that they've got expanded rosters. So you really want to pay attention to teams that are either fighting for a playoff spot or a wild card spot, division leads, things like that. Just when you're targeting your pitchers to see, pitch counts, because there's usually not a lot of information out there that guys are going to be pulled in those innings, but they've got extra relievers out there this time of year. So just something to pay attention to, make September, a little bit more interesting, a little bit more challenging. But you can also, gain a little bit of an edge if you do a little bit of research in that sense too as well. So, yeah, with that, looking at a couple top pitchers, we've got some good ones at the top tonight. I'm going, for cash games, I'm looking at either Mike Clevenger or Rich Hill. I just like the fact that they come a little bit cheaper than Justin Verlander tonight. He's 12-3 on DraftKings, 11 on FanDuel. He's a huge favorite. He's got a ton of upside. He's been, up and down lately. I think he's allowed 3+ earned runs in 3 straight starts lately, which, it doesn't give you the most safety when you're paying that high up. I think we can go down for cash games to Clevenger, who's got a great matchup against Kansas City. He's also a 230 favorite. And Rich Hill, who's a 230 favorite versus the Mets, who are dead last against left-handed pitching. And back to the Mike Clevenger matchup, Kansas City's dead last when you're looking at guys against right-handed pitching. So definitely looking there at those 2 guys as my top 2 pitchers for cash games tonight. I do like going to Verlander. I think he may be a little bit lower owned with those good options below him that are a little bit cheaper and excellent matchups. So Verlander is definitely my GPP play at the top. Who do you like out of those 3?
I think that was a very good explanation. Hill and Clevenger with their matchups really offer with that little bit of a discount, definitely for cash. And I like everything you said, including Verlander being a nice little potential GPP play with those other guys below him. I'll tell you who I don't like. I'm not a big Robbie Ray guy. Projections often like him, and the Padres are a plus matchup on paper, but they're a young team, and Robbie Ray gives up a ton of home runs. I think his fly ball rate's really high. So I don't know. I'm not that into that. I think Herman Marquez has been awesome, but he's priced pretty perfectly, especially being at home. San Francisco is pretty terrible. Like everyone and their mom has been able to pitch, quality starts against them lately.
Yeah.
But the price is pretty good. That could be a GPP twist too, going in cores or someone like Marquez, who's just been lights out the second half of the year. But some of the cheaper guys that I'm looking down to in particular, I'm a fan of Giolito tonight. He has been pretty different in the past couple starts. Why don't you talk about that, Chris?
Yeah, early in the year, it was, gang up on him and stack against him over and over and over and over again, and you'd pretty much be ahead the whole first half. But in the second half, he's really changed things around. He's given up 5+ earned runs in 2 of his starts, but he's held opponents to 1 earned run in each of his last 2 starts with 14 strikeouts. And the biggest thing that I've noticed kind of looking at a lot of the game logs and stuff.
Against some good teams too.
Yeah, he's walking less. The last start was he went 6 1/3 against the Red Sox, holding them to just 2 hits, 1 earned run, and 8 strikeouts. He only walked 2. So if he keeps his walks down, He was a top prospect coming in to the majors. Just that control, like he still sits with a 4.6 walks per nine rate right now, which was a lot higher earlier. He's brought that down, so he's got that positive regression that's come his way. And he hasn't been giving up nearly as many home runs as he was earlier. There was a lot of starts where he's giving up 2-3 home runs. He's only done that once in the second half. So I do think he hasn't had less than 6 strikeouts in a game in 6 straight outings now. So he's definitely brought that K rate up, which is only at 6.6 for the season, K per 9. But that was, again, a lot worse earlier in the year. So it's really good to see that he's turning his season around. And I mean, he's the future number 1 guy once you get Shields out of there. He's going to be their future.
Oh, no, I think Michael Kopech would have something to say about that.
Yeah, that's true. Kopech's a little bit younger, so Giolito's 24.
And Ronaldo, I think will try and would fight him for it too. Mr. Lopez.
Yeah, I mean, if they can get some,
they were both sent over in the Chris Sale. All 3 of them were in the Chris Sale trade, right?
Yeah, Moncada and Kopech, I think, were the 2 that came over.
That's it. It wasn't Giolito and Sale too. I think it was. And Ronaldo Lopez too.
What I'm seeing here is Giolito. He was drafted by the Nationals, actually. He was first round 1, 16th overall by the Nationals in 2012. Just kind of looking at his. Go back here and have a look quick. But yeah, he came up as a top 16 pick in the amateur draft. Yeah, Nationals. Then he went to the White Sox.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So, but definitely going to be, they got a good future building around their pitching staff. And so it's really good to see for him. So it can't really stack against him. And I think at his price, I think you're bang on, especially for DraftKings, that you can use him as an SP2 for sure.
What about Wade LeBlanc? It's another guy that I've been looking at just because Baltimore has been pretty bad lately.
Yeah, I actually highlighted him as my top SP2 tonight on my sheet, 8,400. Even as a GPP play on FanDuel at 6,800, he's super low price there, and he's a -200 favorite. Really good park, low over under.
Yeah,
he's got an average K rate, but yeah, Baltimore's just been so bad. That lineup just is not very good when they since they've lost Mancini and Machado. So,
what about Arrieta?
I haven't really looked at him a whole bunch. That price is sure intriguing. I mean, it's down in the mid 7K range on DraftKings, and he's a favorite, the lowest over/under of the day, in the best actual park of the day. For pitchers anyway. Again, he's kind of like LeBlanc. He doesn't have a high K rate or anything, but you sure like the matchup there. And at that price, I mean, that's a viable SP2. I'd probably rank them LeBlanc, and then a guy that we haven't discussed yet is Mike Minor. He can give up home runs, and he has this season, given up 38% hard contact, but he's been really good lately. Looking at his numbers, just opening up his log here real quick. Yeah, last few starts, he's gone 2-2, 1-4, 0-2. So 5 of those 6 starts, he's given up 2 or less earned runs. He's up and down with his K rate, but I think, again, with that matchup, he's definitely viable SP2. So I'd rank them LeBlanc, Minor, then Arrieta in that mid 7K to mid 8K range.
I wouldn't disagree that much. I'm not a huge fan of Minor, but he's been really good this year, so I don't hate that call. I like Jalen Beeks a little bit. He's a little pricey. 6K is a lot for someone who's going to come in, for like 5 innings, if all goes well, and who doesn't get like a million Ks. But, I liked Chirinos yesterday, and that paid off for me. The Rays are really vibing. I'm a believer. Look, I don't pick lineups off of like gut instincts or things like that, but I am a believer that some things in months like September for baseball and late in the year for NBA and things like that, where teams are fighting for spots and in the playoffs, and it's just they're vibing and they're making up a lot of ground like the Rays have been. I'm a believer that the numbers and the projections don't always tell the whole story, and that sometimes teams like that, just guys who aren't necessarily supposed to do as well as they will, rise to the occasion. And that's kind of how I felt about Chirinos last night, in baseball in particular, when I think it's, I used to pitch a million years ago, and I'm not comparing what I did to, MLB status, of course, but I, at least as a gamer, like when you were on a team that's like winning a lot of games and a baseball team and everyone's performing well and everyone's doing their job, it's like the next man up thing in the rotation, and everyone wants to keep doing their job, and no one wants to be the guy to kind of like stop the winning streak. And that's how I feel about the Rays right now. So I think Jalen Beeks is viable for a GPP option. Toronto's not like a great matchup for him, lefties or anything. So it's a bit off the wagon, but I will be playing him today. It worked well with Chirinos yesterday. It's been working for a while with them. And I like the cheap guys. He's not that cheap, but he's, people like that you have to search for are GPP by default. So
yeah, they're going to be low owned.
Yeah.
And back to what you said there about projections don't tell the whole story and the numbers don't tell the whole story. Well, Tampa Bay's bullpen strategy that they've been going with really throws projections off.
Look, everyone's copying them. There's a lot of teams around the league doing it.
Yeah.
5 or 6 teams. The A's are doing it tonight. I think the Twins are doing it tonight. The Angels have done it a couple times. Like,
it's crazy, and it totally throws projection systems in a loop, trying to project who's going to go.
Yeah, no one did this before the Rays.
No.
So it's a really cool idea. I remember when I used to gamble a lot that there's a prop bet that is the biggest sucker bet that I'd love to see major statistics for, but no run scored in the first inning. And you'd always, anyone who knows baseball goes, oh, there's 9 innings. So, and there's no runs anyway. So if all I have to do is get no runs in the first inning, one of the 9, that's a pretty good bet. That should work a lot more often than it doesn't for me. But for some reason, I would always lose it. And I've seen a lot of other people lose it. For some reason, the first inning, and there's a lot of reasons. Part of it is you're facing the top of the order, so it's the best hitters. Part of it is the pitcher's not like fully in his groove yet. There's a lot of things. But the first inning, it just seems like a harder inning than the other ones. It's not just your average inning. And so to have like a really good reliever whose only job is to get through the first inning, it's kind of a cool idea, and it's working.
Yeah, and that you pay attention to Twitter during games, and that's one of the biggest tilt things is, people want to give up. A pitcher goes and gives up 2 hits and a walk and 2 runs in the first inning. They're like, oh, give up. I'm done for the night or whatever. Well, there's a lot going on. You just got to be patient. That's why there's 9 innings in a game. Not it doesn't just end after 1.
I would be almost guaranteed to put a bet on this that the first inning there's more runs scored in that inning than any other inning in the game.
I've already marked that down. It's on my research list. I'm on it.
Yeah, check it out, please. I'm curious now. But yeah, anyway, so is there any other pitchers you want to talk about, or should we move on to offense?
No, that's pretty much all the pitchers. I love the breakdown there.
Other cheap ones that my projections like I don't know if I'm a full believer, but Liriano is very cheap. Eduardo Rodriguez is much better, and he just destroyed the White Sox. So the same projections that had, like the E-Rod that day, like Liriano, it's a similar matchup, similar pitchers. Liriano's just worse. But for 4,900, I would throw him in a GPP tonight.
Right on. Yeah, so jumping over into the offensive side of things, teams that we're going to be looking at to stack with some of these pitchers tonight. My top one out of all of them, and I like going to the late games, especially for the main slate. The lineup sometimes isn't out when main slate locks. We'll be looking to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Jason Vargas, he's been better lately, but he's still got that blow up upside for the bats. And the Dodgers have a good top of the lineup that all hit lefties really well with Dozier, Turner, Machado, and Kemp. So I'll be looking at those 4 mainly. They're the price is up there, especially on DraftKings. I think it's for those 4 hitters, it's combined 18,000. It's 14,000 on FanDuel, so it's very affordable on FanDuel. With Kemp only being 2,700 and Dozier 3,300. So I'm more into that on FanDuel, but I think with just the value pitchers that we've already discussed, you could be able to fit that combination definitely in DraftKings with if you go 2 value pitchers.
Yeah, I agree with that. Where are you looking to for value offense? Like value plugs, excuse me.
Yeah, I like Pittsburgh going up against Cody Reed. They got a good implied run line tonight. Adam Frazier batting second. He's under 3K on FanDuel, and just checking his. Yeah, he's 4,200 on DraftKings. So I play a little bit more FanDuel, so I'm kind of looking at that side of things a little more. But so that's one spot, and then I also like the Nationals. They're very affordable on FanDuel, especially. Eaton and Turner are both only 3,500 at the top of the lineup, and then Harper's 44 and Rendon's at 4. Again, a little more expensive on DraftKings. It's a little bit harder to do over there. So, if you're going to be stacking some of these top teams, top of the lineups, you got to go with value pitchers. And another thing, and I know I've mentioned this before, it's been a couple shows now, but you can still go with those top teams on DraftKings with a top pitcher. And something that you can do to kind of, get away from the field, a little bit less ownership, is go towards the bottom of the lineup. Either, even a 4 to 4, 5, 6, 7, or even down 5, 6, 7, 8, bottom of the lineup stacks on those teams with high projected runs, and you can get some value and low ownership out of them. So,
Scooby agrees. No, sometimes I like playing the 9-hitter. It's it's the second leadoff guy, right?
Yeah, and he's only the 9-hitter once. Yes. Same with like the leadoff guy. Everyone's always wants to go to the top of the lineup. Well, that cleanup hitter is only the cleanup hitter, only guaranteed to be the cleanup hitter once, or the leadoff hitter is only guaranteed to be the leadoff hitter once. So if you can get some low ownership and go like even a wraparound, like you said, like a 9-1-2-3 stack, that's just ways to take those high projected teams, get a value guy because he's going to be cheaper because he's in the 9-hole. It allows you to still get a top pitcher in there and separate yourself from the pack with some lower ownership.
Yeah, it's a good strategy. Some other stacks that I'm looking towards today. Let me just pull this up.
I like Milwaukee against Mike Montgomery. I always talk about Kane and Yelich. They're always two of my favorite cash game plays. It's a little harder for cash on DraftKings because Yelich is up to 5,900 coming off a Player of the Week last week. I mean, he was incredible. But a lot of people are going to overlook Kane now because of that, I think. And Kane's sitting at like just below a 400 on base percentage and over a 300 average. He's not going to get you that power, but he's got that speed element to his game. So he's definitely be looking to him in cash games tonight. Yelich more for upside in that lefty-lefty matchup. Might be a little bit lower on, but he's been so hot I don't think people really care. And then you got Jesus Aguilar. He's just got huge upside. He's just a big, giant man that can hit the ball a million miles.
So big.
And then catcher that I'm looking at, I like Hernan Perez. He's in the 5 spot tonight, so I'll be looking at him as well. And then I seem to be targeting lefties just like crazy. That always seems to be like my go-to thing for stacks. So Cleveland stands out as well. They're very expensive. Again, you're going to have to go with like a value pitcher there too because you got Lindor. Yandy Diaz helps. He's up in the 2 spot. He's nothing special, but he's hitting in the middle of Lindor and Jose Ramirez, which gives you a little bit of salary relief there to make that stack work as well. And then you got Brandon Guyer. I think he's in the 5-hole tonight, and he always provides some value against left-handed pitching.
Good numbers on Duffy too.
Yeah,
he's got good numbers in 17 at bats. I've mentioned this before. I'm not acting like 17 at bats is any sort of sample size, but I'd rather someone have good numbers in 17 at bats than bad numbers. So. Got a career home run off of him, hits .412, only struck out twice. So Guyer is a very good value play tonight, 3,100 on DraftKings. Another one of those can be Elvis Andrus. He's 3,700. He hits lefties much better than righties. And he's got good numbers off of Heaney. Again, only 13 at bats, but a home run, only 3 Ks, almost 500 average. So that's 2 guys I'm looking at for value. I do like Laureano for his price a little bit. That's another conversation. But if he doesn't pitch well, he's going to get destroyed. And I do like the White Sox catchers, Kevin Smith and Beef Castillo. They both hit lefties well. Castillo's back from a long suspension, but he's got a ton of power. You mentioned Yandy Diaz at 3,600. Adrian Beltre, honestly, this it's kind of like the righties for Texas are pretty cheap between Beltre and Andrus. That's their 3-4 hitter, 3 and 5, and it's like almost 7K or whatever for combined. So that's pretty good.
And don't forget about Joey Gallo. It's a lefty-lefty matchup, and he's hitting 7th, so he's usually lower owned in that spot, but he's got over 300 isolated power number against lefties, and I think he leads the team in WOBA and WRC plus against lefties. I mean, he's striking out over 40% of the time, so definite GPP play only, but there's a ton of power there.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned the White Sox, right? You mentioned Wellington Castillo.
I like the White Sox, sure, a little bit, but I like the Rays more. They're really locked in right now. They're hitting everyone around the park, and Baruki sucks. He doesn't strike out anybody, and I just think they're vibing. They're having fun playing baseball right now. Kevin Cash is doing a good job. The Rays, the Cardinals, you know, a couple teams like that. The A's for a while, like they're just playing ball. They're having fun, and I like hopping on that for DFS purposes.
Right on. 100% agree with those.
Even the
I like the White Sox. White Sox are my favorite value play tonight. I'm just not I just can't buy into Liriano.
Yeah, look, I'm not I don't think I'll end up playing him either, but I kind of questioned it when the same projection system had Erod with similar vibes. And I'm not saying it says they're going to do the same thing. But, I didn't think Erod was going to come out there and have like 11 Ks. I thought the White Sox were good against lefties and stuff, and he's a little wild. So, you know, Liriano's much older and had a couple surgeries, and he doesn't throw anything close to what Erod does. But, you know, somewhat similar pitchers. And if Rodriguez can pitch 4 or 5 innings of, you know, 1-run ball with 4 Ks or something, that's not bad. That's value, very much value. So,
yeah, you hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't suggest people like Liriano and expect them to go throw a complete game shutout. You know, you gotta take it for a grain of salt when the guy costs 4,900. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
But I know you know that. I'm just kind of explaining that to our viewers. But all right, cool.
Who's your home run guys tonight? Give me 3 home run guys you like.
Let me give you 3 home run guys I like.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, I love it. Definitely, my gut for some cheaper home run guys would be the Elvis Andrus, Adrian Beltre vibe. Like, I like the righties. Andrew Heaney's gotten blown up before. You know, but Houston spanked him a couple of starts ago. It's very humid in Texas. They've been one of the better offenses in the second half of the year. So, yeah, they're on my list. But my actual calls, my home run calls, are going to be Matt Davidson with the White Sox. And I think Machado is hitting one off Vargas tonight.
Nice. I like it. I'm with you on Matt Davidson. That's that's going to be a low own home run call. I definitely like that. Just adding White Sox to my stacks now. I'm looking at Aguilar there for Milwaukee, hitting third. I think he can hit one off Montgomery tonight, so that's one I'm looking at. I'm going with Gallo down in the 7th spot with that 40% K rate, but 60% of the time he's not striking out. So
yeah, when he hits the ball, it goes far.
Yeah, he doesn't hit singles. He hits doubles and home runs. That's his game where he strikes out. It's all or nothing for him.
Yeah, literally. You're gonna get 32. You're gonna get 28 points and 2 solo home runs, or 0 for 5.
And then another sneaky one would be CJ Cron's one I'm looking at as well.
I like that call a lot. He spanks lefties. They're vibing and they're drinking my juice. So, anyone who's drinking Pure Green has an automatic, boost. There's only like 8 or 9 teams drinking it, so it's not really.
Well, you're gonna have to send me some. I think I need it for my local golf tournaments.
It's tough getting it to Canada. You guys have, getting any sort of food and like produce to Canada, or it's like there's strict restrictions, and it's doable, but it's like paperwork and it's annoying. But I'll get you some.
Awesome stuff, man.
It to you. All right, guys. Good job, Chris. Good show today, and let's see what happens tonight. I think our advice should do well for people, but it's Tuesday. We got NFL. Chris is going to be doing a show this week. We're going to figure out amongst ourselves how we want to do it, and we'll change it around probably, but there'll be at least 1, if not 2 shows from us this week for football, the preview week 1 and cash plays and who we like there. And we'll be planning on doing another MLB show Friday. So
that's right. I got a cash game. I'm going to be doing a video kind of looking at my sheet. And then I'm also got a cash game article that'll be coming out probably Wednesday night, probably more likely like Thursday afternoon, I think is when I'm planning on having that out, just to have all the news, injury news and information out there to see who's in there. But yeah, cash game article Thursday. I'm probably going to end up doing the video on Thursday as well, going over the sheet. So
fantastic. Thanks again, Chris. Good analysis, and let's get it tonight, guys. Oh yeah, sorry, just before I leave, RotoPros.com, obligatory ad read. You guys know the deal by now. 2-week free trial. There's no risk at all. Come join our community, talk to us, learn some DFS. There's no stupid questions. We know our stuff now, but it didn't always start like this. It's taken a long time to get here, and we want to help as many people as we can become like us and win on their own too. So we give industry compliant, skeleton lineups, leave 2 holes in there for you guys to learn how to fill out and to make sure everyone's following the rules. And but it's, you know, we got a good thing going here. So feel free to check us out at no risk at all. You don't like what you see, you know, you leave. You cancel your trial and you leave. No money. So check it out. RotoPros.com.
Cheers, everybody.
Thanks. See ya.